injury.
Mm-hmm.
April 28th.
April 28th. What year?
Mm-hmm. This year.
Oh, this year. So it's like not even 6 months?
Right.
Okay. How did they find out about it?
Oh, he had a car accident.
Oh, okay. Because that's how I had mine too.
The car accident?
But it was all of it, yeah. All of it was internal?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was it, the impact? Just like
yes,
shook his brain a bit? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. He had shearing throughout his brain.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But it's amazing how the brain heals. It's come a long way.
Oh, yeah, yeah. My friend Susan just joined us. She's on the call as well. She's in Jersey.
And she's a survivor?
Yes.
Yes. Well, she's a little bit of both too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the grandmother of brain injuries.
That was a good one. I know. I used to live by Susan, and we know each other personally as well.
Wow.
When I lived in Jersey. So, I'm sorry. Saliva just went down the wrong pipe.
How do y'all feel about the CBD oil for the TBI?
I have mixed opinions about it. I try not to get too, because it was very political for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's becoming like in Pennsylvania, and I don't know about New Jersey, but in Pennsylvania, you can buy it with a medical ID card for it. So, like I usually don't get involved in politics, especially on these calls and stuff, because everybody's got their own opinions.
Okay.
But if the law says it's legal, then it's legal. You know what I just go that way.
Right. Well, I just didn't know how if anybody had tried the CBD oil and how like what the outcome was, if they felt like it worked or not.
I've heard a lot of great reviews about it. I don't try to sugarcoat anything. I have heard a lot of wonderful things about it. But just like those things with like the e-cigarettes, it's so new. Yes. You don't know anything about side effects or impact it might have or anything like that. So it's really hard to say. But if it's legal, I say do it. You know, I don't know. How about in Texas? Is it legal in Texas?
Well, they have the shops here.
Oh, so it is. But same thing. You've got to get a medical ID card.
No.
You don't. Oh.
No.
It's legal for recreational use?
Well, it does. What is it? It doesn't have the what? THC?
Oh, okay.
It's just a CBD. It doesn't have the THC.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah. I guess. I don't know. You know, I'm old. So when I was a kid, you did what you wanted to do, to put it nicely. So what happens behind closed doors stays behind closed doors.
Well, he's fresh into his injury, you know. I just didn't know if I should try it. Well, of course, he has his first doctor's appointment because he just came home last week, and I've been having a hard time trying to take care of him.
Right. What kind of hard time are you having with him?
Well, because he's new. It's a new injury, but he's come a long way. Like, he feeds himself, he can stand, he helps me transfer, but he wants to walk and he can't. He don't have any balance. And I can't understand a lot of what he's saying, but he tries to talk. And we do understand a lot of what he's saying too. Like he'll just say like the main word, just to get to his point.
But structured sentences are still difficult. I remember I went through that.
Yeah. He gets agitated because we don't understand what he's saying, and he wants to get up and walk and he can't.
Yeah. No, that frustration, that's understandable. Yeah, he's so new. Wow, that's fresh. I remember I was a bit of a miracle because I was in rehabilitation for 3 weeks. And that was it.
Wow.
But in his he's got seeing of course the neurologist, him not talking but understanding. Acceptance is still going to be a big deal for him because it's so new.
Right.
And that's going to be a huge burden. How old is he? He's 23, you said.
23.
Yeah, so his pride's going to be a kick in the ass, to be honest. And an open mind. He's got to have an open mind. And
a single father of a 2-year-old.
Yeah. He's got to have an open mind that this is who he is. He will get better. He will. But it's going to take patience. It will take patience. I had a 3-year-old and a baby on the way when I had mine. And I was in a messy marriage at the time, and that ended. So it was a whole rebuilding of my life and everything else too. I understand exactly what he's in. But I mean, he's more than welcome to listen to the calls whenever we do these every week, twice a day on Tuesdays and on Saturday mornings. But I'll preach to him every day. If he's able to can he type? Is he on Facebook or anything?
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
Not yet. And then we lost his phone, and his wallet was lost in the car accident. So I don't know if he's going to be able to remember his password.
Okay. Well, that's meaningless at this point. Yeah. Well, I'll be.
But he remembers my phone number. He told my daughter, call mom, and he said my phone number.
You know, it's funny. Yeah. I remember phone numbers from when I was in elementary school still. It's the craziest thing how things are so easily remembered. And then you asked me what I had for lunch and I couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? Not now, but then forget it. Tracy, I hope we keep in touch often because I want to be there with him and you through this whole journey because it's so fresh. And there's going to be a lot of hardships and a lot of beautiful moments, but he's got to pay attention to the little things that are big, like little things. Reading and writing is huge. I don't care if he feels like sometimes he's like 8 years old again, but it'll help him move forward. Every little bit counts. He's got to remember baby steps.
All right. Thank you.
Me?
Yeah. Thank you for your advice.
Oh, no. I'm really adamant about this because Susan went through this as a child and I went through it as a 31-year-old adult. And we talk about this with people a lot, but it's very rare that we get somebody so sudden, like that just had the brain injury, and I will talk. I mean, he could listen. Like I said, I don't care. I'll talk to him all the time and help him out, because he's got to be positive. He's got to keep his hopes up and be determined that he's going to get better, but be patient.
I don't know that he realizes what's going on yet.
He will. The first 5 years after my accident, and I was released from the hospital like I said, 3 weeks after I came out of rehab, and 5 years later, I realized the extent of my injuries when I started college, and I had to reread things and read them over, read out loud, and write things down and reread them, all that kind of stuff. And
How soon after your injury were you able to go back to work?
that was 3 weeks. I was in a coma.
3 weeks?
I was in a coma for 3.5 weeks. I was in an inpatient for 3 weeks, and then I was an outpatient for 3 weeks. And I went back to work. But the thing is that my memory wasn't as good as it was before. And the things that I did for 15 years, the depth wasn't there of what I knew. Like I worked in IT. So I knew a lot of networking protocol and stuff, but the depth of it, I was a certified Microsoft software engineer. So the depth of it, I was right back to the basics. Like I could fix a computer and work on basics, but not the depth wasn't there.
Wow.
Yeah. But if you ask me a technical question, I could answer it. You know, I was better than the average person, put it that way.
Were you able to go back to that career?
I did. I went back into it, but that was in 2004, and that's when the job market and everything, employment just took a tumble. And then I was more interested in healthcare and helping people, you know, so than I was with the money and the job market. And I went back into doing medicine, and then I went to school for my associates in social sciences. That's when I went back to college. I went to college.
It's also important to remember that a lot of people I've noticed, they feel they're ready to go back to work, but they're really not, because there's deficits there they either don't realize or they don't want to realize.
Yeah.
So that's something to be careful of.
Yeah, the cognitive impairments. It's still a hidden disability, so when reality hits, he'll go through a slump. It'll hit him because we all go through it. But that's why I said patience and determination, because when reality does set in, that's a big stepping stone. And depression and anxiety and frustration, it'll go on. But he's got an uphill battle. You know, he didn't die. So you can only move forward.
And he's about to start walking, and he wants to start talking, so.
That's good. That's awesome. Yep.
So you recommend a neuropsychiatrist?
To follow his paths, I do. And plus they can give a bit of homework for him to do. Like they'll be able to see his levels of things like processing, and be able to determine where he goes from there, or where he needs work and things like that.
Okay.
Also, a big help is he continuing with therapies like physical, speech?
Well, my insurance didn't want to pay for therapy, so about a month ago they sent him to a nursing home.
Yeah.
And he kind of shut down. There was too many people coming in and out.
Yeah.
And he kind of shut down on everybody. So he hasn't really had very much besides what I do for him.
Yeah.
Which is not that much.
That's awful.
In the past month. He just came home last week. It's been a week that he's been at home. So we're going to start a program called Rehab Without Walls, where they come to us.
My wife is an RN, and I have a lot of experience with helping people out with physical conditioning and stuff. So we can make little recommendations of what to do, because that happened to my mother-in-law. She had 8 strokes and she couldn't walk, talk, do nothing. And she's 76 years old now. And being that he's young, he may recuperate very quickly. It's possible, you know. You never know.
Right.
Everybody's different. But my wife and I can probably share with you a lot of little things. I know my wife has done it. We have done it with other people. Remember, Susan, with Sherry, what we did making recommendations? Her daughter was a complete quadriplegic, and they wrote her off, and she was in a hospital without any assistance for 8 years, with no assistance whatsoever. And we got the ball rolling for her, and now she's up, she's mobile, she's starting to talk, and she's getting things out. And she's in her glory. Yeah. So I don't want you to think that there's anything is impossible. And if you're getting a runaround from insurance, we'll find other ways to help you out, so he can get care, because there's state-funded things that you could do if you don't have insurance, especially being at his age. Medical insurance also gets, eliminated when they hit a certain age. And we could find local resources in the state that'll be able to take care of a lot for you.
Okay.
I'm telling you, we'll help you guys out. Yeah. I'm gonna put my wife on the phone in a second, because normally I'm on my laptop, but I was building a chicken coop outside my house today. Okay. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. I don't even know where my keys are. All right, I'll come back out for this stuff later. Tracy, I'm telling you, please don't be shy. If we're friends on Facebook, Trace?
No, I don't think so.
I hope so. Okay. Quiet. There's my 3 dogs. Anna, what are you doing? Oh, I need you on the call. There's a lady who's in a similar position as Tracy, with her son who had a brain injury, and insurance said they don't want to care for him. They were just going to throw him in a nursing home. Similar scenario. He had his brain injury in a car accident not even 6 months ago. It was in April 28th, she said. See, my memory is pretty good. That takes a lot of training. Anyway, but I told her we'd be able to help her out with resources and stuff like that, because they were just going to throw him in a nursing. Almost exactly the type of scenario. And she's in Texas. Sherry. Oh, Lydia, yeah, with her son. So that's why I was hoping if you guys can introduce each other and talk. But if you're cooking, that's fine. Yeah, Trace, if you want to look me up on Facebook, well, you saw my link. That's how you got on the call. So you'll know how to find me.
Let's see. How did I get on the call? What did I see?
You saw a shortcut in a group about brain injuries that I put about Zoom.
So I must be in a brain injury group with you then.
I'm in I administrate a lot of them. I have my own, and I belong to almost 100.
Let's see.
Yeah, they're all the same. They don't change anymore. You could do it whenever. I mean, if you don't want to do it, my wife's going to log in now. I want you guys to be able to talk because she's the one. She's like a huge, valuable resource of information as well for digging and finding, you know, support, not support, but resources.
I'm trying to figure out where I got this link.
Let me look you up on Facebook while we're sitting here on right now. All right, I'll look you up, Tracy.
Okay.
And how do you spell your last name?
CABELLO.
BABB.
No, BE.
BABE.
LLO.
There we go. Nope. Babello. Well, there's somebody from New Jersey here. Wow.
The same name?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's my wife. Okay, I'm gonna go in the other room so we don't get feedback.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll be in here. Okay. So it's BABELLO.
No. C like cat.
Cabello.
Yes.
CAB. Okay. And you said, so I'll look up Tracy Sabello. Texas.
Okay, so you're going to have to wait till tomorrow.
Okay. What's your son's name?
Charles?
I found you because you had a post about please join as we support Charles in his difficult journey.
Yes.
I
Yes.
found you. See, I just do a little interrogation. Okay. All right, beautiful. Yeah, we have one friend in common, which is unique. All right, Jennifer Rout Colwell.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. She keeps in contact with me all the time.
Okay, I just friend requested you on there, so then
Okay.
you'll see who I am.
Okay. So next time I should do the video?
If you'd like to, whatever you'd like, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, it's a little bit easier, and then you get to see faces, and you'll hear laugh. Well, you'll always hear me laughing. I find a sense of humor in everything. But yeah, you could like get to know each other. Like we're personal, really good friends with. Actually, Autumn's in Texas, so yeah. No, we have some really, really important people that we are personal, close friends with. go all over the country because of what we do and how we help each other. We, you know, of course, you build friendships, and sometimes you laugh,
Right.
sometimes you cry, you know. But
Mhm.
mostly, like, we stick together. We're a brain injury family. It's really what it comes down to. Because it's hard. Being a caregiver is tough. You lost your life taking care of somebody else, and it's a whole new beginning for you. Especially when it's a child, you're starting all over again. Well, even if it's an adult, you're starting all over again. It's like parenting
The child.
101. Yep.
Like a child again. And nobody understands unless they've been through it.
Yes. Well, every brain injury survivor you'll ever talk to on here will tell you that. Nobody understands it until you've been through it. Oh my God. That's funny that hearing that from a caregiver, but that's awesome. Because a lot of us lose family members and family and friends and everything because they just don't get it.
Yep. Or they don't want to help.
No, because they're usually just wrapped up in themselves. That's the bottom line. Yeah.
And I've been taking care of him by myself for the past 3.5 months.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, he was at the nursing home and stuff, and at the rehab, but I was the only one there for him pretty much.
Well, was it a nursing home or was it a rehab?
He was at the rehab.
Oh,
well, first
but it was in
the hospital.
It was an inpatient.
And then
it was an
inpatient. He was at the rehab, and then the insurance didn't want to pay, so they sent him to the nursing home for the past month.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
past like 20 days.
It's an in-house rehabilitation. Yeah, I ended
skilled
up being
living
a volunteer.
facility.
What's that?
It's a skilled living facility where they had him, but there's a bunch of like 83-year-old people there that everybody has white hair there. He didn't belong there.
Yeah. You know, Susan, that sounds like Hartwick. Because I was a volunteer recreational therapist where I was once a patient, where I did my outpatient therapy. I ended up working there doing recreational therapy there. And yeah, people were they were all brain injury related, but the majority, of course, were very old. Like the oldest man I ever met was there. He was 108 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the coolest. The guy was like 6 foot. He was about 6'8". He was way taller than me, and I'm 6 foot. But he was cool. I was like, he doesn't talk much. I said, at 108 years old, you don't have to. You don't answer to nobody. He lived through every world war there's been. Jesus. He don't have to answer to no one. It was great. Yeah, it was funny. So, I wanted to tell you because you called in instead of doing the video. This call's recorded because this is an organization, it is a business, and it's recorded for safety precautions. But if the call goes well, like it did this afternoon at 3:00, we had a phenomenal call with only a few of us on, but it was awesome. And as long as I have consent from everybody, I'll share it because, you know, people can catch wind about who we are and what we do. So, Susan's always fair game. My wife is okay, but sometimes she beats me over the head. But it's okay. I'm just playing. She wouldn't do that to me, although she wants to. See, I have tricks. There's anything could be solved with a softball and some duct tape. It solves everything. Yeah.
No, it's not duct tape. It's zip ties.
She's watching Forensic Files too much. She's learning.
So I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Tracy?
Tracy. What is it that's going on with your son? Like, what is the assistance that we can help with?
Well, I was just calling kind of like, really for me, just to see like what the group was about, and really that's it. I haven't really, I'm on some Facebook pages, support pages, but that really I was calling for myself just to see like how I could get through this hard. But he's at home right now. He's been here for about a week.
Mm-hmm.
And my insurance has to pay. The rehab hasn't started yet. It's Rehab Without Walls,
Mm-hmm.
where they come to you. So I'm waiting for all that to pick up. But I did apply for, well, I guess the rehab, before they send us to the nursing home, they applied for a program. It used to be called the DARS. It's through the Texas Department of Human Services.
Yeah.
And they pay for a post-acute brain injury rehab, I think up to 120 days, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the waiting list for that.
And you can get an
But
extension after that if he needs it.
Excuse me?
I say you can also get an extension after, you know, the time frame runs out.
Right.
For his
Mm-hmm.
services. You could get an extension where
Oh.
he will pick up the services, an outsourced company.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and there are programs through the state once he gets his SSDI that he'll qualify for.
Oh, okay. So, do y'all recommend like a lawyer for the SSI, like a brain injury lawyer?
Well, you don't necessarily need one once his paperwork is in order. If the medical facility is stating that he needs to be in a nursing home, but you choose to not place him in a nursing home and you want him home with you, where either yourself or you could hire a care service for him at home, that once the doctor fills out the paperwork, the SSDI you'll get it without a problem.
Yeah.
So this is just the beginning, because I only put the application in, and then they sent me more paperwork. I filled that out and I sent it back. So this is the beginning. They haven't sent me anything for the doctor to fill out yet.
Yeah, well, actually, they won't send it to you. What they'll ask you for now, what they're doing, is they'll ask you for the doctor's information.
Okay.
And they will contact the doctor and communicate directly with the doctor. And once they receive the paperwork from the doctor, what they will do is they will try to set up a face-to-face where either you and your son will go to them, or you will have a medical come out to you. You know, depending on the severity of his case. Like if he's able to walk, move about, you know, it's basically what they try to do is they try to say, and this is the sad part, is that they try to determine the level of care that's needed and the level of disability to where they could say, okay, well, you're not that disabled that you can't go back to work, or you don't qualify because you don't fall under certain guidelines. If you have the doctor that's signing off the paperwork stating that he needs 24-hour care, for example, he needs to be supervised, he cannot eat on his own, you have to be careful of choking, you have to be careful of, you know, certain things. He's not able to go to the bathroom. He can't be home by himself, things like that.
Right.
Those are things that the medical recipient is going to come out and they're going to observe.
Okay.
And they will do, you know, that's how they document all of that. What is his level of care? Like,
yes, he's 24-hour care.
Okay.
He had a diffuse axonal injury, stage 3. was shearing throughout his brain.
Okay.
He's not able to walk. He's still, he's starting to get words out. He's speaking bits and pieces, but frustrated.
Mhm.
Yeah, because he can't do constructive sentencing yet.
What does
Right.
the doctor say about his recovery?
About his what? I'm sorry.
Recovery.
The neurologist never told me anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when he filled out the paperwork for FMLA for Charles, they said that he was going to be like this indefinitely.
Okay. Yeah. So you shouldn't have a problem getting that. If you do and you need assistance with anything, let us know. I mean, we can always, and it's the easier way and the cheaper way, cheaper meaning you don't pay anything, advocate on your behalf. And we've done that for other members also, where they were struggling to get their SSDI, and through advocating for them and doing observation through the online conferencing, we were able to state, well, this is what we observed as an outside source, and this is, you know, our level of expertise in what we do, and it's the care is needed, the assistance is needed. And not only for himself, but for whoever is caring for him also.
Right.
Because I can tell you from personal experience, when you hit a caregiver burnout, it's a lot. It takes a lot of toll on you.
It does.
You do need that break where, you know, you could say, okay, I need to just walk away for a couple hours and, you know, go to lunch or just go see a friend or just take a walk in the park for a couple hours just to blow off some steam. Because
right.
24 hours, it does take its toll.
It does. I cry every day.
Well, according to Michael, you know, I hit him behind the head, but...
It shows no
Was that is that his third TBI?
Yeah,
I don't know, because I'm kind of like feeling like I got one, so I'm wondering who's hitting him. But...
Well, the key is the key here, Tracy, is that you use a rubber mallet so it doesn't leave marks. You got it.
Or a spatula, you know, whichever. But that, yeah, one thing you have to do is when you start the process of the paperwork for the SSDI, you have to keep on top of them because they will lax. And the more they lax is the less services that he gets. And the more services that he gets early in his stages, the more it's going to help him.
Right.
You know, for us, it may seem like it's, you know, small steps, but for him,
right.
those are huge steps. Like, you know, simple thing is learning how to hold a spoon, or
right. Yes, I see that.
It's huge.
I forced him to do that kind of stuff because he didn't want to.
That's what I said about baby steps, and he needs to concentrate on those simple things, or more stepping stones that are going to build up to more.
Letting me know when he needs to use the restroom.
Yeah, that's a big one. Especially for a male, because that's a pride issue. Yeah.
And
he's been like wiping himself. I think that one was a big one.
Yeah.
Anna, you would
ask. He took the because I was using wipes on him. Took the wipe away from me. He actually unrolled the toilet paper by himself and cut it with one hand because he can't use his right side. And then he traded me the wipe for the toilet paper.
So he knows, like he wants to try, but you know, gotta build on his self-esteem also.
Yeah, that's what we had talked about before, Anna. Yeah.
there are little tricks of the trade when you're learning to regain your mobility. And you know, as we go along with other, like I said, with other members, it's worked. And there are special devices that you could request from the doctor to assist you. For example, there's special spoons now that he will hold it like, you know, it grips in his hand, but when he goes to put it in his mouth, instead of the spoon flipping over or it doesn't go over, it manipulates its movement so it will always hold the food. It will never fall. And he can put the plate to his mouth. You know, and there's like if he needs assistance with keeping his hands open, you know, where the fingers are not curling and staying in one position. You know, there's the hand glove that has it's like a metal strip that will keep the fingers always stretched out, so they learn how to stay like that instead of and you know, where it's very difficult after a while to get those muscle laxed back to its normal position.
What is that spoon called?
It's this, well, the one that I used to use with my patient, it's called Independent Lifestyle. It's a website that you could go to, and they have all little spoons and plates and cups that they've manipulated for people with disability. And even like, you know how some people have problems, they have that shake. So it's very difficult for them to hold the cup. So the handle has a grip on it, and the cup, like it'll move. I don't know if you've seen, they had this baby cup and container that they had brought out so they could teach the baby how to eat individually and how to do things independently. So they would put their finger food in it, and it didn't matter which way the baby would flip it, it would always return back to its original position. So adults with that have the shakes, or they have problems holding, the cups that they have designed are very similar to that. It has like a little, some of them have a straw if they're able to swallow on their own. So they could use that, or they have one that's like a sippy cup where they have to pour in their mouth, or they, you know, pull it in as much as they could take it. But whichever way they hold it, if they're shaking, it never spills.
And it makes them have confidence too.
Exactly. It teaches them back, it gives them back that self of independence. And it's the same thing like with the wipes. There's certain like they have the flushable wipes for adults, but it doesn't look like a baby wipe container. It's in a roll.
Right.
So they
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it looks like toilet paper, but it's more hygienic for them, obviously. And it still gives them that sense of independency. And then they still have to pull it, but it'll like they don't have to work so hard as to tear it apart. You know, it already comes apart for them, and it gives them enough where they need it. So there's all little tricks of the trade for the step, you know, that second opportunity in life. But it's a hard one.
So I feel like once we're done with our journey, that it's going to be our time to help others too.
You learn so much as you go along. We've had members, you know what, I'll be honest with you, working in the medical field, it opened my eyes to so many different things, but working with this organization has taught me so much of how to understand people and understand their expectations. And my mom, she suffered 8 strokes. And during her last stroke, my mom was pretty much a vegetable.
Oh my God.
If you look at my mom now, if you physically you look at her, you'll think she's fine. Nothing is wrong with her. But as you spend a day with her and you go along throughout the day, you'll see her stages of how she copes with things and how her body chemistry and her physical mentality changes, where she'll go from she's energetic and she wants to go out and she wants to do things, to where after 2 hours, 3 hours tops, she's ready for a nap. And if you push her beyond that, everything begins to shut down. Her speech becomes impaired, or it's very difficult to understand. Her mobility, her focus.
Does she
And
get angry, agitated?
she does. If she's very tired or she's had enough of something, like too much stimulation, she does become agitated. And that's when we know, okay, she's had enough. Like, for example, going to my sibling's house, she can only tolerate being away from a home for so long. And after, a couple hours of seeing them and interacting, she's ready to come home. And when she's ready to come home and she's had enough, she will let you know, okay, I'm ready to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. I've had enough. And
I read about that. Where you kind of have to prepare yourself before you even leave the house to be home early.
Yep. I always say, it's like taking care of a toddler. You have to teach everything again.
But it's harder.
It is and it isn't. It is in the sense of when you're learning with them and you don't know much. But once you get the hang of things and you develop a routine, it's very easy, where they just go along with the routine. And if there's any adjustments that you have to make, you let them know a couple, like a few days ahead of time, but you also give them constant reminders so they themselves begin to prepare for what's coming. But it does. The beginning is difficult. I'm not going to lie. It is very difficult. But, step by step, little by little, it works out. And as difficult as it was, I wouldn't change it for the world. Because they told me, put my mom in a nursing home, that her survival rate was very, very low. And this was roughly, it's going on 9 years now.
Wow.
And my mom went from not being mobile at all, no speech. She used to make sounds and gestures, to where my mom, you could sit and talk to her and have a conversation with her. The only thing is that I always say, if I were to go on a game show where Pictionary or charade was the game, I would be so rich, because she doesn't even have to say things to me. It's just by her gestures, I know what she's going to say, what she wants to say. And you know what? It's great, because that's our own little communication.
Right.
It's difficult for other people, and it will be difficult for him when you're not around, but that's where the teaching process comes in,
I had somebody come, and I was going to try to go to work while he was here at home. And one day he got agitated, and he got a little violent. He called me a bitch, and he kept trying to get up, and he was kicking me and punching me. And so I got a pillow to use as a shield so he wouldn't hurt me. And he took the pillow away from me, and he started hitting me with the pillow. And it was like midnight, and he still wasn't tired. And I'm like, 2 hours he was hitting me with the pillow, like from 10 to like 12. And he wouldn't get tired. I'm like, yeah, hit me with a pillow. That's okay. You can hit me all you want. Wear yourself out. And he would not get worn out. I think he was extremely tired.
Yeah.
Where he was just like fighting us. Like he didn't want to go to sleep. And then finally he just ended up passing out. But because of the little incidents that we have like that, I'm scared for somebody to come and help take care of him, because I don't want to be responsible if he accidentally hurts somebody.
Well, I mean, that's what as you go along, you're going to learn the tricks of the trade with coping and working with him, because in all honesty, there are times where you have to set that emotional connection aside and look at it as you're working with him, like an employee or kind of mentality.
Like I'm his nurse for a certain amount of time.
Right. And you have to look at it like that, where you have to do what's in the best interest for him, and you have to teach him. You know, there are times where he's going to disagree with you and he's going to fight with a nail, where I don't want to do this and I don't have to do this. And you know what I mean? And it's going to be frustrating. And then you have to be firm and you have to say, listen, this is how it's going to be. And this is what you're going to do. Because.
But his brain's not there yet. He says one or two words. And like, I mean, he'll say one or two words to get to the point where what he wants. Like, if he wants his shoes on, he's just like, shoes. And he points down at his feet. Or socks. Or restroom, which is restroom, you know. So he's not at the point to where he, you know, will talk and disagree with me. It's just that he gets angry and frustrated, I guess, because he can't do what he usually does.
Yeah.
He can't get up and walk.
That's his way of showing or communicating. Have you tried using picture cards with him?
We've done only flashcards. So I know that he knows, because he knows the shapes and the colors and stuff.
No, but things that he's familiar with, like, for example, his jacket, his shoes, his bed, his toothbrush, things that he knows that are his. What you could do is you take pictures of them and you create your own cards. And you're going to put words underneath them, so he knows when you show him this picture and you say shoe, he knows you're talking about shoe. And this is how he will communicate with you also. If he can't get the words out, he can go and point to your picture chart. And then everything that he does, whatever it is, you repeat it 3 times. Repeat, and eventually he will start mimicking the words, and he will put a title or a name to whatever the picture is. So he can assimilate with them until he starts getting the words and the sound out. But by hearing it 3 times, for some reason, it tends to stick.
I was telling your husband that the other day, he told my daughter, because I have a 13-year-old that helps me. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't be able to make it without her. She dedicated her summer to help me with him.
Aww.
And he was telling her, call mom. And he told her my phone number.
Oh.
So like, he's there, but he's not there.
Yeah, and when he's exhausted, you'll see him very, very, sad to say, gone.
To say what? I'm sorry.
He'll be very like gone, like distant.
Yes.
But when he's early morning and he's up and ready to go, he'll be able to get his words out. I don't know why this tends to work, and it worked with my mom. And it worked with my students and even some of my clients. Phone communication. I guess get the receiver from the phone, and when he wants to talk, pretend that you're calling him on the phone. So let him pick it up, for some reason, they're able to get their words out better.
Yeah, I noticed that. Because we try calling different people throughout the day, but half the time nobody answers the phone because they're at work. Because he wants to talk on the phone.
Yep. And he's able to focus on the words because he's picturing in his head, you know, not like physically looking at somebody where it can be distracting, but they're able to focus more in their head, so they're able to get the words out better.
Right.
And that helps develop their speech a lot.
Right. It will. That's easily understand because once he becomes more aware, you know, being face to face with the person, you sometimes feel that the person's watching your every move, and he might get self-conscious, and that's no good. So that's probably why it's easier to work on the phone, because you don't have to look at someone.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever used like a baby monitor to kind of watch them while you try to do house chores and stuff?
I still do. We have one right by our bed head.
Oh, good. Then I don't feel bad.
No. And like I said, my mom is talking and walking, but because of the severity of her stroke, she developed several blood clots in her head. The doctor said that she will continue to have strokes, like mini strokes. So I don't know how many years it's been now, 8, 9 years? I sleep with a baby monitor right next to my side of the bed, so I could listen to when she's breathing, because I know what's going on with her just through her breathing.
Right.
Well, even Anna, I mean, remember I sent you that link just last week about a monitor, so you could see the temperature in her room. You could see it. It's a motion detector if there's something wrong.
Yeah, this one picks up like if she's active in her room, like if she's up and moving, or if there's like a consistent shaking. This one picks up the vibration of it.
Or like a seizure or something?
Yeah. I'll see the light bars, and it makes a certain beeping sound. So I know, something is going on with her, other than the normal routine of the day, like, her walking about in her room, or her, fixing her bed, or playing with the doll, or something. But specifically in the nighttime when she's supposed to be sleeping and something is not normal, I know it'll start making that beeping noise. But
right now, I can't leave my son to sleep by himself in the room, so he just got home a week ago, so we're all kind of sleeping in the living room together.
Okay. Well, that's for your own peace of mind.
Yeah, because we live in a mobile home, so we're opposite sides of the trailer, so I can't leave him by himself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always say that those things are so helpful to have. They have some of the monitors come with the bed mat. I don't know if you've seen that one, where it's kind of like, I guess, a Bluetooth kind of thing, where if he's moving about, or if he's like hitting himself, to a certain level, it picks it up.
Oh.
And it'll alert, like and some of them have even the camera monitor.
That's what I was talking about before. Yeah.
Yeah, and
is this in the Independent Lifestyle website, or is this just like a baby monitor?
No, well, there are some for adults, but of course, with adults. How old is he, by the way?
23.
Yeah, because if he was to go in a nursing home, right, and they put that on, obviously they would have you sign the HIPAA law document. Some of the monitors because, you know, he's an adult, they'll say, well, you have to give him privacy and you have to do X, Y, Z. I would suggest not going to that extreme, because then they look like, you know, you have big observation kind of thing set up. I would say just a baby monitor. There's different types. You could get the one that's like a little camera, and you could put it, you know, somewhere behind a picture or something, so it's not that obvious to him, because he's like he still wants to regain his independence, and obviously we want to build on his self-esteem. So, you know, working in that sense would help.
Okay.
But they're a huge help. Has he showed like any signs of having something that he attaches himself to? Like for some, like my mom, for example, she has attached herself to dolls. She is fascinated with dolls, and it gives her security.
Not yet. Not yet. Haven't noticed anything yet.
He's 22 years old. I bet you it's women.
Well, I'll tell you that he had a 22-year-old aide that was helping him, and he did try to grab her boobs and kiss her.
Aww.
Well, I know his head's in the right direction. No pun intended. No, that's good.
And he wants to seem as normal as possible.
As possible, yeah.
So, you know, and that's what you're going to utilize to build with him, you know, and helping him through that step that he could do things. And I don't know, I'm not familiar with the programs out there, but there are programs, for example, in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, where they have socialization programs or events.
Oh.
That the state does, or independent programs or businesses or nonprofits together.
There's the rehab that has the independent living, and they teach them how to live, something like that. Is that what you're talking about?
No. The events are like they'll have like spring fling, you know,
like trips
they
together.
have like a little dance that they put together, or they'll have a dinner date, or they're things that we would do, but they just modify it a little bit where it's accommodating for them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they get to do invites with other with their age, with other members who belong to the group. They could do invites, they could share like contact numbers, so they could communicate on the phone. They set up days where they could socialize, like they have fun days, fun events. Like we used to do it when we were in New Jersey, where we assisted in hosting barbecue events and sports days, where they could all participate. And then they get, you know, to build on that, they would win like little trophies, or they get like these little what do you call it, medals, you know. They get little little things that acknowledge, you know, their growth and their steps, you know, so it helps them along the way. So those are things that you could look into in your community to see what is going on. And even if there's one, you could start them up if you have the time. You know, reach out to other families that are going through the same thing and ask them, would you like to participate?
Also, if you tap into some of the independent living centers in Texas, you can get some resources also in terms of socialization. And so I used to work in an independent living center in New Jersey.
Are y'all all from New Jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that Jersey accent thing going on.
The one note, it doesn't exist. That's funny.
Mike, I'm sorry to say I'm going to have to go for tonight.
All right. Well, we've all talked.
Well, thank
quite
you
a
for
bit.
everything.
It was nice meeting you, Tracy.
Thanks. Nice meeting you too. Next time I'll do it. I'll do not the call, the video.
Okay, so I can see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see Charles sleeping.
Okay.
Okay.
What he does best.
Uh-huh. Okay, so have a good one.
You too.
Thank you too. See you next
Thank
week.
you, Susan.
See ya.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to go too. That way I can go ahead and feed him. He's still asleep. I got to wake him up to feed him so he can go
Oh,
back
yeah.
to sleep.
It's 8 o'clock your time. That's right. Yeah. I just realized where you were.
But thank you
Okay.
so much. I appreciate your time. And I'll do
Anytime.
the video conference next week.
Okay. I sent you a friend request on Facebook, and
Okay.
I'll introduce you, like, me and my wife on there. So I told you,
Okay.
if there's anything you ever need, you just let us know. Anything.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
It was nice
Just
meeting
this
you.
time was nice. Be able to
Awesome.
vent.
Thank you.
Oh,
I
thank
wanted
you.
to know, do I have your permission to share this?
Sure.
So people can hear about what we're saying and things like that. Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you.
It's other people in the group, right? I mean,
Yes.
like, that are going through similar situations.
Yes, especially caregivers and,
Mhm.
survivors too. Yes.
Right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
All
You
right.
too.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.